you in Shavasana, shift your attention back to the breath. Bring some movement to the fingers, to the toes. Stretch the fingers apart, stretch the toes apart. Slowly arms reach up over the head. Big stretch, long. One leg, one arm longer than the other leg, other arm longer than the first. Knees come back into the chest. A little bit of a squeeze. And whenever you're ready, however you want to go about it, rolling onto your side or just rolling up and down, finding your way back to seat. Finding your way. Alright, so that was the yin part. Now we have the more difficult part. Well, I don't know actually. Yin's pretty hard. Yin is pretty hard because not only you're working through your body, you're working through your mind at the same time. So that's kind of like you're hitting the trifecta, but it's two of them. Oh, I guess the breath is there too. So I was like, what's the third one? So however you'd like to find your comfortable seat. As you can see, Ravi here, she likes to put her bolster behind her. I like to sit on a block just to give my hips a little extra space to open. My feet are simply in front of each other. And I actually am on the very edge of the block. That's just the most comfortable way for me. You can also sit against a wall, leaning your upper body back into the wall. You can also lay down, even though sometimes laying down can result in falling asleep. So that's a little tricky. Sometimes you could also make like a little thing, bolster on the block and then lay on the bolster, so you're kind of propped up, so you're not all the way down. But ideally seated is the most safe place to be as far as not falling asleep. That's what I would say. Most safe place to be as far as not falling asleep. And then we'll just get right back to it, as I like to keep this one. Well, it is actually long. It's nice and short, but it's also the actual meditation itself is actually pretty long because we usually go solid 20-25 minutes. So that is a very, very solid meditation. And I happen to have something that I kind of want to offer to you. I've been very inspired by my dear friend and a teacher, Marley Victorth, who has been my teacher from pretty much the very beginning of my yoga journey, and over the years became a really close friend, mentor, and it still remains to be my teacher. And she was doing class on Sunday, Soulful Sunday. She always teaches Soulful Sunday on Sunday. And it had a lot to do with gratitude. Gratitude is a great topic to just in general, just, talk about, practice, meditate on. So we'll do that kind of in a similar way that that she has offered it to us on Sunday. Ravi and I practice together, and I will offer it to you now in meditation. So take it or leave it. Always, it is only an invitation. You can choose to do ultimately whatever you'd like. If you do find certain guidance useful, you can use it. If you'd like to just have my voice in the background as a white noise, that totally works as well. however you'd like to go about it. Again, I am only here to offer and invite you to participate. No way, shape, or form you have to do anything that I say ever. So with that said, hopefully you have your seat ready and settled. And as usually, I always like to start with the breath. Just take a moment, maybe soften the eyes, close your eyes, or keep them open if that feels better to you. If you have something that you can watch, maybe some trees or some plants, or maybe a candlelight, if that's handy. Maybe some shadow light work can be a really nice object of meditation also. So whatever feels appropriate in the moment. And if you were doing Yin with us, your body should feel nice and heavy and long and stretched out. Kind of soft and maybe a little gooey even. So allow that heaviness to stay there. If you tune in now and you haven't brought yourself there, just take a moment to let your body kind of settle in, let the heaviness spread, let the gravity still be pulling on you while you're seated nice and tall, but somewhat soft. Watching the breath coming in and out. Noticing the lungs expanding, the chest rising as you bring air into the body. Lungs contracting, shoulders softening, coming down towards the earth as you exhale the air out. Maybe there are even some smells that you can pick out. Just notice. You're trying to bring yourself to a witness space where you are simply an observer of anything that is happening around you. Wherever you send your awareness, that's where your witness goes, whether it's your breath, the sounds, perhaps the feeling of the clothing on your body. Your body sensations, heaviness through the hands as they rest, wherever they may be. Softening through the face, softening through the eyes, whether they're open or closed. It's just as you are releasing yourself towards yourself, witness consciousness watching your human form, sitting, breathing, perhaps thinking. First, I'd like you to bring your awareness just simply to the word gratitude. perhaps the word on its own will elicit some feelings, some emotions. You are there to witness what comes up. Simply observing if it comes up good feelings or bad. Notice if it's reflected anywhere in the body. As you think the word gratitude, does your body react in any way, shape, or form? I used to have a quite negative relationship with the word gratitude, which is kind of interesting because it's not necessarily a negative word, but it is also interesting how we attach certain thing to certain words and create our own stories about those words and about how they make us feel internally. We do that all the time, always. If you could try to separate yourself from that too, if you could try to observe that word from as neutral perspective as you can, as in you don't even know what that means. Imagine that I will give you a word and you don't know what it means. Then you will have no attachment to it. There will be no positive or negative reaction because you don't know what that word means, and therefore you're simply going by the pure sound of the word. You can approach witness consciousness from that perspective. Try to be as neutral as possible. Try to be as objective as possible. But we are very conditioned and we've been around for a while, and we do create attachments to words, which is kind of funny because that's how bad words get a bad rap. Again, noticing what is your initial engagement with the word gratitude. How does it feel in your body? Where does it resonate or not? And don't necessarily feel like you have to feel something. You may feel absolutely nothing, and that's totally fine too. I'm simply offering that word as an object for your meditation. Now notice if I lose you at any point, your mind goes away into a compulsive thinking process. What needs to happen? What's for dinner? What are the kids doing right now? Are they being supervised? Is somebody watching them, or are they just playing on the iPads again? Just notice if that happens, if your mind goes into those places. And as soon as you notice that happening, you gently, without any judgment and trying to not get frustrated with yourself, even though it would be normal to do so, redirecting your awareness back in towards your breath, your body, my voice, or gratitude. And moving a little further with the gratitude. Object today, I'd like you to extend some gratitude to yourselves first. However you'd like to go about it, whatever that means to you, whatever shows up for you when I say extend gratitude to yourselves. For showing up on your mat, for taking care of your emotional health, of your physical health, getting on your mat, moving your body, practicing yoga, tuning into your breath. And if you made it to meditation, extending gratitude to yourself for taking care of your emotional health as well. Notice what the thought process about that brings up. Notice if it gets reflected anywhere in the body, if you feel maybe a little soft and fuzzy, or maybe it is very difficult for you to extend gratitude to yourself. If that's the case, just notice that. Again, you're only witnessing, you're here to witness. Whatever comes up, anything goes. There's no right or wrong. You cannot do this wrong. There's no way to do this wrong. It is simply your willingness to sit and watch. That's it. It is your willingness to sit and watch. And sometimes the watching is more pleasant than other times. Sometimes it's straight out painful. If you need to cry, you cry. There's no better place to cry than on your mat. But you are willing to sit with whatever shows up, good or bad. If it gets really intense, you have your breath. You send your breath to your body, to the spaces that needed to soften the experience. Sometimes it needs several tries. Sometimes you have to step away from it. Sometimes you can breathe or cry through it. It depends. Every day is different. No right or wrong. No good or bad. It is what it is. But that's how you process. That's how you go through emotions. That's how you let go of stored emotions. You sit with it. You let it come up. Again, you're extending gratitude to yourselves. Notice what that looks like. Notice what that feels like. Notice how easy or difficult that may be. Where is it showing up in your body? Witnessing anything that appears in your mind. The longer you do this and the more you're willing to look at things, you will have all these realizations of patterns and habits that you perhaps didn't even knew you had. Maybe you have never tried to extend gratitude to yourselves. Maybe you find it extremely difficult. So the next step of that practice would be, why is it so difficult to extend gratitude to yourself? Just notice. From extending gratitude to yourselves, I'd like you to go to somebody who you love and trust, extending gratitude to them. perhaps a stranger who did an act of kindness, you could extend gratitude to them. Just sending something energetically out there. Again, witnessing what that feels like. How easy or difficult that may be, and how does it make you feel? Where does it show up in your body? My guess would be that this may be a little easier in general. Not to make any generalizations though. Again, notice what that brings up. Keep witnessing anything that shows up from that realm. You're extending gratitude to somebody you trust, who you love, or somebody who did you a kindness. Finally, we will move on into extending the gratitude towards somebody you have a difficult relationship with. Somebody who is maybe outright triggering you, somebody who you simply don't like for whatever reason, or somebody who is just who you're having a difficult relationship with. That may take some extra inhale of love, and then a little extra exhale, and a little extra push of gratitude. Even these people are teaching you, more so even than perhaps the people that you love. How difficult is it to extend gratitude to a complicated relationships, or to a conflicted relationships, or to a difficulty? Is it even possible for you? And if it's not, that's okay. Just notice. There's no judgment here. Maybe it is just not happening today. And all you will witness from this, that it is simply not possible for whatever reason. Notice how that feels in your body. Notice where that shows up. Notice if there's any tightening, any sensations that are uncomfortable, that crept in. Notice if your jaw has tightened. Gratitude out there towards somebody that is perhaps difficult. Witnessing what shows up when you think about those things. part of you that's noticing the other part of you that's reacting to the things that I'm saying. Witness consciousness, it's you're sitting in the background watching yourself think. In this particular case, I'm feeding you the topics of your thoughts. The object of your meditation. Again, if at any point you get completely sidetracked off to a la la land, as soon as you notice, gently redirect your awareness back. And it's generally easier when somebody's talking because I'm continuously bringing you back, to awareness as I am talking. When you do this alone in quiet, it gets a lot easier to just stay with the compulsive train of thoughts that just takes you away. Because there's nothing necessarily outside of yourself to bring yourselves back. Alright, slowly notice where you are, any final thoughts, any final sensations through the body, any final thoughts about extending gratitude. And then whenever you're ready, slowly shift the awareness back to the breath. Maybe take a little longer, a little more controlled inhale and an exhale. And when you're ready, if your eyes are closed, slowly flutter them open. Bring yourselves back. Come back to me. You can come sit with us. So, how was that? You should have meditated with us on gratitude. Do tell.
It was really interesting because to myself was semi-difficult, and I don't know if I felt like that much difference of anything really going on. And then when it's like the loved one, I felt like tall and warm, and but soft, strong but soft,
Yeah.
and like a warmth. Like immediately, like a warmth.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And then the person, the difficult, the trigger.
Yeah.
I literally felt like my body felt like it just got like small and shrank.
Yeah.
It was really weird. It was really
So
weird.
that's really great. So what she's describing is kind of exactly where I was leading you with. Notice what comes up, right?
Yeah.
Notice what comes up. Notice where it reflects. So I really love that. Like you feeling tall and like open and warm, and then you feeling small, and like that's really
Right.
really like right there.
Like I could send it still.
Yeah,
but
that's
it
good.
still made me feel like tiny
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah. Gratitude. Working with gratitude is not easy. Especially, and it's really interesting. And as I was saying, it is difficult to extend gratitude to ourselves. We are not used to extend gratitude to ourselves, and it takes a serious practice to embrace the fact that you can actually extend gratitude to yourself. extending gratitude to a loved one is generally very easy, or the easiest one, because we just love doing that. We are kind of conditioned to do that. So I feel that obviously that one is the easiest. And then extending gratitude to somebody that you may have a difficult relationship is sometimes not possible. Sometimes it is possible, as Robbie was describing. I find it easier, much easier now, as I've been practicing this further extensively. What I find useful extending gratitude to somebody you may have a difficult relationship is kind of realizing that you don't know what they're going through, and you have not lived a single day in that person's shoes, and that helps me extend gratitude, because you just don't know. They may seem perfect or arrogant or who knows what, but you don't know what's going on in there, and they may be struggling. I'm sure everybody is struggling in some way, shape, or form. So maybe connecting with that struggle and extending gratitude that way, or for whatever they are teaching you as a lesson, because generally there's a reflection of some sort. If somebody is aggravating you, there's a reason. It's coming from inside of you. It's not really coming from them necessarily. They may not even know that they're aggravating you in the first place. So extending gratitude like that, it's a really, really great practice. So thank you for sharing. That was great. And then we've practiced something similar in more of a moving style. It's different. How different was it from the moving?
A lot. I mean, it was very different. Yeah, it was just like a totally different experience.
Well, you have a lot more
It's a different
space to kind of
experience,
like
yeah.
sit with it.
Right.
As opposed when you're moving, you're just kind of like, it's more active.
Right.
Because we would like inhale love and exhale gratitude or something like
Right.
that. And then we would just be moving. And then the first round, it
Yeah.
was whatever to yourself, or, maybe
Right.
not the same order, who knows. But yeah, in a moving setting, it's different because you're still kind of like in action, as opposed when you're like sitting with it, things just come up, and that makes it more difficult to, I don't know, actually actively
Right.
do it. So thank you always. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. Monday 5 yin and then 6 meditation. I will see you tomorrow at noon for 50/50. Posted my schedule everywhere. That's all I got. If you'd like to bring your hands to heart center, mindfulness into the breath space, into the heart space, and the sacred that unites us all. From my heart to yours always, namaste. Yay! Thank you, Robbie, for being here. Thank you, Misha, for participating. Thank you guys so much. Again, if you have any questions, feedback, requests, suggestions, please do reach out and let us know. Until the next time, we will see you. Bye! Great, okay. Safe.